welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley here in Washington, D.C. Remember to get those vital books without which you cannot understand the events unfolding. That would be Obama, the Postmodern Coup, The Making of a Manchurian Candidate, already referred to it a couple of times. Barack H. Obama, The Unauthorized Biography. We'll have something about the night runners and voodoo in the White House in the next segment. But we've also got Surviving the Cataclysm, your guide to the worst financial crisis in human history. Now, just to repeat those scenarios, what Obama does as a good Wall Street puppet concerned with getting money to Wall Street and getting money to the Hartford-centered, Boston-centered insurance companies, he gives up on he never even says Medicare for all. Never said it as far as I know. These words have never passed his lips. That's something tangible, understandable, highly popular, quite successful, has saved tens of millions of lives, cut the mortality rate by 20%. You can't argue with cutting the mortality rate by 20%. All of the right-wing Austrian school, Dick Armey, Freedom Works talking points fall to the ground, because that really is life and death, right? These guys, they're concerned about death boards. They have their own way of doing away with you, called medical savings accounts. So Obama would have, or a normal, let's say, a normal Democrat, let's say, or some moderate idea of health care reform would have been campaign for Medicare for all, single payer, have congressional hearings where you bring out troops and troops of people who have been mercilessly looted and betrayed, even to the point of death, right? You'd have, surviving relatives of people who died because the insurance company would not pay. You'd have 2 weeks of hearings with these people coming forward saying, this insurance company killed my grandmother, this insurance company killed my father, that insurance company killed my mother. You'd go with that for a couple of weeks or even a month. And then ultimately, if the reactionaries were really well organized and still in fighting trim at that point, then the compromise would be the government plan. Notice Obama doesn't do that. Obama gives up Medicare completely, Medicare for all. He gives up the government plan in the middle of August when the Congress is got 2 or 3 weeks from coming back. So it's clear where he's headed. He's headed towards an individual mandate. You have to pay. You must buy insurance from a private company. It's going to be a private, for-profit company with highly paid executives, with huge bonuses, compensation packages, private jets, all the rest of this stuff. They're going to have huge budgets for lobbying, huge budgets for advertising. Their administrative costs will be 30% or more. You have to buy that. And it's deregulated, it's for-profit, you can't sue them, and your life will depend on it. Hammer away on those points. And the answer is simply Medicare for all who want it. You don't want it? Great, don't get it. Medicare for all who want it, paid for by a Tobin tax on Wall Street speculative turnover. Let the bankers pay. Get that good populist oomph in there against the hedge fund hyenas and Wall Street jackals. And then the third point is, yes, there is a way to get savings. No death boards, no death panels, no triage, no rationing. The way you save money is by finding cures, permanent cures, and other treatments that can lengthen life, reduce suffering, and cut costs. Those are your 3 points for an effective health care policy. Anything else is pure ideology, be it Keynesian Malthusian, that you should die, or Austrian school, which ultimately is the market should decide, and then the market will tell you that you die that way. And, of course, you've got to remember what I talked about. We're in a world economic depression of unimaginable proportions. We're now in a kind of a fool's paradise, a pause in the depression. But, of course, lots of things are going on, too, right? Everybody's getting the pause is in financial terms. The only things that these characters understand. With the unemployment rate, the foreclosures, all of this is going forward apace. But you've got to deal with the idea of a depression, the reality of a depression, and you've got to face the fact you cannot have the healthcare apparatus of an advanced industrial country if you've chosen to go with a service economy, a post-industrial society, and you turn everything into a rubble field and a junkyard. You must re-industrialize, reconvert, get those automobile factories producing, take unemployed workers, put them together with empty factories, find a credit mechanism to do it, but the production is primary. Don't worry about tinkering with money. It's quite simple on the money side. The main goal is production, 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 employment, full employment, and produce the things that you don't have. And that means, among other things, build 1,000 hospitals with 500 beds each. So you have 500,000 new hospital beds in rural areas, in the forgotten parts of the United States, rural America, the high plains, and the much maligned inner cities. So everybody has the physical access to medical care that they don't have now. And whatever mechanisms, paying mechanisms you put into place, whatever you say in the bill, if there's no hospital, there's no health care. There's also the interesting question, where do doctors come from? They don't grow on trees either. Their medical education is expensive. If these people come out with $250,000 or $350,000 of debts, that's not a good way to run a healthcare railroad, is it? Now, again, the genius approach would have simply been this. A Democrat running in the fall of 2008 would have led a revolt of the House Democrats, and you could have done this, and the Black Caucus in the House, to say no bailout. I never went into this at the time because it was so obvious that Obama wouldn't do it. It would have been fomenting illusions. But now, almost a year later, in retrospect, we can say there would have been an option for a Democrat, and who knows, some Democrat could come along and rise and become better than themselves by saying no to the bailout. Let Wall Street go down. We don't need them. We're going to seize the Federal Reserve, and that's our bank. We're going to make 0% Federal Reserve credit for production only into the order of the day. But if you had voted against the bailout, you would have had a world derivatives meltdown centering on Lehman and Merrill Lynch and AIG and these other charming companies that we heard so much about. That would, in effect, have bankrupted most of the private insurance companies, not just AIG and its 71 components, but the Hartford and Metropolitan Life and Prudential and Connecticut General and. So at that point, by the time you were inaugurated, there would be no private insurance industry. The only reason there are private insurers at all is that they were cushioned and insulated against the world derivatives panic by the U.S. government. And now these characters are demanding that government get out of the healthcare business. Again, the way to deal with them would have been let them go down and take their system with them, and then you rebuild it in the obvious way. Back in a minute.